This is the most make or break card for the UFC this year. It could either be a classic card with a highlight reel knockout in the main event or an absolute disaster. And honestly, it's probably a disaster. In this video, we're going to talk about the weak card overall for UFC 316, but the very high level matchmaking at the top of the card that could save it, and just why UFC 316 is either going to be a phenomenal card or really, really bad. Stick around to hear my thoughts. I'm Wyatt, and this is Fight Society. Now, UFC 316 has big names, but it feels quiet around the entire card. Why? We have Sean O'Malley versus Merab Dvalishvili, who are two of the more talked about fighters in the main event. We have the most hyped title shot in recent memory for women's MMA with Kayla Harrison. Kevin Holland's on the card. 21-1 Patchy Mix, former Bellator champion, is making his debut for the UFC against a top 10 opponent. It just feels quiet. I don't know. It's interesting because I would normally say, oh yeah, it's an O'Malley card. They're going to put all the focus on O'Malley, but it feels like even O'Malley does not really have that much going on in terms of media right now. I don't get it. And this card kind of feels like the UFC is hoping that it's going to do well or deliver instead of knowing it will. Like UFC 317, we know Topuria versus Oliveira is going to deliver. This one, we have no idea. And because of that, it makes for essentially a fragile, unbalanced card with really insane stakes as to how it turns out. The main event is pretty black and white. You have O'Malley by knockout, viral moment, UFC wins because they're golden goose currently at least, back with a belt around his waist. Or if Merab wins, it's another 5-round hug fest where it just feels like, okay, yeah, of course this is what happened. And Merab remains champion, which I know there's a lot of you guys in the comments that like Merab, but for me, I honestly can't stand the fact that he's a champion. He's just boring, not a championship style fighter, really annoying on the mic. I don't know. I hope somebody agrees with me because I really find him annoying. But the UFC is banking on Sean O'Malley to come through for them in this fight. And if he doesn't, it's kind of like the end of the Sugar Show, to be honest. Sean O'Malley says he wants this fight back. I mean, I know he stopped gooning, he stopped smoking weed, but it just doesn't seem like O'Malley's all that hyped. Maybe he's just trying to go into a more low-key part of his career where he can focus on fighting more than being a superstar. But I'm a little bit confused why this fight got booked, especially given that O'Malley hasn't won since he lost the belt. Moving on from there, we have the fact that women's MMA is essentially on life support. I mean, Peña, former champion and current champion, she's a vet with a resume. She gets a little bit of attention because she yaps, but she's really not a draw whatsoever. And Kayla Harrison's the only like fresh storyline in women's MMA right now because we have Amanda Nunes retired. We have Shevchenko dominating her division, of course, again and still, you know, and Weili Zhang dominating her division as well. And so Kayla is really the only fresh storyline that the UFC has right now in terms of women's MMA. They had an opportunity for a little bit of a change with Tatiana Suarez fighting Weili Zhang, and she got dominated, basically didn't show up. I know that a lot of fans don't really care about women's MMA. They say it's a bathroom break, whatever. This fight does matter more than it seems because if Kayla loses, we kind of just are at a standstill with women's MMA. And let's not forget that at a certain point, women's MMA was driving the sport with Ronda Rousey. And while I'm pretty confident that Kayla Harrison is going to win against Julianna Peña, it is like a must win for the UFC's business at 135 pounds for the women's division because Kayla, big potential draw. They're going to try to make her Rousey part 2. Competed against Ronda Rousey in the Olympics, judo world champion, judo Olympic champion, PFL champion, all these different things. Very impressive, like strength and athleticism for a woman. I don't know if she's on steroids or not. I mean, she definitely is, but they need like a new face for women's MMA. And also if Kayla wins, that means that we get Amanda Nunes most likely back out of retirement. And that's a pretty big fight for women. That's the biggest possible women's MMA fight right now is Kayla Harrison winning this fight and then fighting Amanda Nunes. Now we have a few like wild card fights on the main card, which are either going to deliver or flop. We have Kelvin Gastelum rebooked against Joe Pyfer. Kelvin Gastelum's career is essentially on life support. He bounced down to 170, came back up. Joe Pyfer pulled out of their fight that was supposed to be in Mexico City in February. Really, there's two things. Kelvin's career is just about over. The UFC, I don't really think, wants to be in business with Kelvin Gastelum anymore. He's been around for a lot of fights. He's probably making $200K per fight, and he's not winning, and he's missed weight recently. And then Joe Pyfer, they so badly want him to break through as a star at middleweight, because a lot of our middleweight stars are nearing the end of their careers. You know, Adesanya, a couple other guys at the top of the division. Pereira left the division. I know DDP and Hamzat's happening. We still have Strickland, but they need a new guy in the mix. And I think the UFC's praying that it's Joe Pyfer, which he's been fraud checked already by Jack Hermanson. I don't know why they want him to break through so bad. I mean, I kind of get it, but also there's other guys. Probably the most like unsung matchup on the entire card is Mario Batista versus Patchy Mix. Batista just stunk it up in there against Jose Aldo. The fans turned on him. MMA Guru put a $10,000 hit on him for somebody to knock him out in the cage in the UFC. Chito Vera pulled out of this fight. 21-1 Patchy Mix, Bellator champion, is going to break through. And I think if he can get a win here, it's going to be in very violent fashion. If he makes like a statement win here, one, shout out, like, you know, sliding for Bellator, you know, he's spinning the block for Bellator. That doesn't exist anymore. But also it puts a very interesting and new contender into the title mix at 135, which, although 155 is still an incredible division, 135 and 170 are creeping up on becoming the biggest divisions in the sport, even if they're not the most like star-studded. They're definitely the deepest. Then you also have Vicente Luque and Kevin Holland on the card. It's like a mid-tier banger, potential for something cool, but I mean, we might see Kevin Holland just like get wrestle-fucked again and give up. We've seen that a million times, but the rest of the card, kind of a gamble. It's a deep undercard, but you don't really know. I mean, you have Josh Van against Bruno Silva. That should be a banger. Sergey Spivak, Azamat Murzakanov, kind of just feels like fillers. And then Chaos Williams always has good fights. He was supposed to be fighting Uros Medic and fell through. I think he's fighting a debut fighter now. And if the main event stinks, we really don't have like a sick undercard to save it. So this card is either going to be crazy, especially the main event, and be really good for the UFC and be a great way to kick off June, which is a crazy month for the UFC, or it's going to be a slow, painful night with Merab yelling into the mic for 57 minutes until they finally end the broadcast after he wins. Kind of like a betting at a casino a little bit with this one. Dana's gambling. So let me know in the comments down below, what fight are you most excited for, and am I being too critical of this card? What do you think? Did you like this video? Then like and subscribe down below. I also do multiple live streams per week, along with behind the scenes content and members only live streams for our channel members. So become a channel member for access to bonus content. It's only $5 per month, and it greatly helps the channel's growth. I also do a podcast with my best friend Bo, and I have a non-MMA channel as well called Wyatt's World. You can check both of those out linked below.